So, first of all, thank you for your willingness to kind of share a little bit about your story. You are a patient here at Bet Shuva. How long have you been here?
I've been here 3.5 months.
Yeah. What brought you here?
Well, I had a legal intervention. I couldn't stop gambling, and I was involved in criminal activity that supported my gambling over the years. And I couldn't stop one or the other until the final point where I got arrested and I was forced to do both.
How long has gambling been an issue for you?
My entire life, since the time, I'm 56, so since I was 13.
So you started gambling at a really early age, 13. Tell me a little bit about how you got involved so young.
Well, I wasn't really exposed to it, but just innocently. I was at the playground pitching pennies with friends, and what happened was I remember my grandmother coming by and noticing that I was caught up in an activity she wasn't proud of, because she had to raise us because both my parents were compulsive gamblers. And the strong comment that stands with me today still is, you're going to turn out to be just like your father.
So tell us about how gambling started to become problematic for you.
Okay, well, it wasn't being of a youthful age. It was periodic with friends and local card games and so forth. It kind of started out when I got to college. In the Student Activity Center, we had card games, and then I went to the local casinos. I was underage, but snuck in, starting to play cards on a regular basis, and whatever money I made from full-time work while I was going to school all went to support my gambling habit.
And then how did gambling continue to play out in your life?
Well, I still was successful in a lot of varieties. I mean, it hurt me in terms of I wanted to go to law school, but I ended up in the restaurant business. I did well there. I became involved in the investment community. I was vice president, securities division for a bank in Beverly Hills. And the more money I made, the more I gambled, and it got worse and worse and worse.
What are some of the consequences that have occurred because of your gambling behavior?
Well, I lost my first wife as a result of it. After that, things got worse, and I started to become an unofficial partner in the bank that I worked at, and embezzled money, nearly $500,000, 25 years ago. And fortunately, by the grace of God, I didn't have to go to prison. I was on probation. And after that, I was able to stop for a while.
So tell us a bit about the reasons why you gamble. A lot of people gamble for different reasons. What led you to gambling?
Well, here, I've learned a lot over the years because I've been in therapy. I've been in 12-step programs, and now being in this community. I attribute mostly a lot to self-esteem, lack of self-worth, never feeling like I was worthy of having any kind of success. Even though I fought for it, I found ways to sabotage myself, but also boredom, loneliness, fear of rejection.
So gambling was kind of an escape on the one end, but on another end, it was kind of maybe this holding out this hope that if I won it big, that somehow that would mean something in terms of my self-worth. I would somehow be better if I were to hit.
For me, it was purely an escape. With winning the money, no matter how much I won, it was never enough. And you could see me leave a casino after having won $250,000 or losing that much and not know the difference.
So tell us about, since you began this program, what were the first week or two like for you as you came here?
The first week was great. I was kind of finally away from my disease and my criminal activity, and I was so nurtured and sheltered and in a cocoon, and it felt great. It's finally that I'm here for the first time in my life, taking care of myself and being taken care of.
Tell us about the treatment that you've received here.
Treatment has been incredible. The spiritual part of the program, and although I grew up Jewish, the universal truths from the Torah study in the morning have helped me tremendously. The individual therapy has given me a lot of insights. The access in and outside of the facility to 12-step programs has been my salvation. But the community is equally as important as all of them. Working in a committed environment with your peers and trying to get better, trying to get healthy. The insights that we get from one another are so powerful here at Beit Shuva.
A lot of that's kind of in the group interactions.
Absolutely, but also individual afterwards, pulling someone aside talking about certain ideas, sharing something that worked for you and might help them, and vice versa. But being dedicated to doing that 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, really has made a big difference in my life.
What was the thing that was most surprising to you about this program? That, you know, you knew you were coming to a residential facility, you probably had some expectations, but is there anything that has emerged throughout this process that you weren't expecting or you didn't anticipate?
Getting closer to God, and even though I'm Jewish, not in a religious way, but I think through a lot of the programs they have here and things that and a lot of things just serendipitously, where someone might have read a book, and I said, wow, tell me about it. And then like just even a week ago, I got so excited about something that's been around for Judaism 1,000 years, and it just hit me home. And it's a lot of the same spiritual concepts and soul traits that we learn in 12 steps or in other self-help programs, but just being able to be in a community that's so supportive of that. So,
Have you got some of your cohort that's not Jewish, and what's their experience been like?
It's amazing. I'm a little embarrassed because I have several people there that I'm very close with that aren't Jewish. They know the songs in Hebrew better than I do, and a lot of the other. And for the most part, I haven't seen anybody turned off by it. So, which I think is a beautiful aspect of this program.
So you've been here for a few months now. What happens next for you?
Well, I came here mostly because when I got arrested, I thought it was the worst thing ever to happen to me. Today, I believe it's one of the best. I knew that I'll be going away to prison in several months. I should be sentenced. But I came here to be spiritually and emotionally ready for that process. And what I gained beyond that is giving me the tools to deal with the rest of my life beyond that as well.
Can you talk a little about what some of those tools are?
Well, for me, daily prayer, and a very simple prayer. It's not on my hands and knees, something I write down, utilizing the 12 steps in terms of when I have an issue in life, recognizing that I need to surrender to a lot of things that happen, that I'm not in control of the outside world as I used to think I was my entire life. Working through that process, using mentors, or in program we have sponsors to guide me through this, to recognize that my thinking isn't always the best thinking. And just the support of a community as well has been very useful.
A sense of belonging.
That's right, feeling important.
Earlier you talked about this pattern or history of using gambling to kind of escape or deal with difficult or unpleasant emotions. What have you learned in this program that's helped you reorganize your relationship with difficult or unpleasant emotions?
Well, I've had several tests here because a lot of the anger for the damage I caused to my family has surfaced over time, and so what I've recognized that most of my life I've ran away from pain, and gambling was the perfect escape for that. But now I'm learning to sit with it, but not hang on to it, not hang on to the gratuitous part of it, just as much as I need to work through. And then write about it, talk about it, work through it. Work around instead of working around it like I did most of my life. Would
you say that because of the treatment you've received here that you're more emotionally aware now than you've ever been before?
Not only emotionally aware, I'm able to express it in a healthier way, bring it to the surface and have it dealt with. And as I work through those pains that I have, the pains aren't as deep and they dissipate quickly.
So are you saying that somehow by leaning into those emotions, being aware of them and talking about them and expressing them, that somehow helps you kind of alleviate the intensity of the emotional pain that you experience?
Oh, absolutely, without question. Most of it has been my life, the fear of what that pain would look like if I ever allowed myself to feel it. And early on, it was very painful. But as again, over time, it's been less and less so. And I realize that even, what I'm facing today in my life is really the pain that I might have expected from it earlier on before I was in recovery is maybe 1/10 of what I thought it might be.
What are some things that you think other gamblers should know, perhaps somebody who's considering coming to this program? What do you think you would say to them that would perhaps help them make a decision about whether this was a good fit for them?
Well, the fact that there's 4 aspects of this program, as I touched upon early: the community, the spirituality, the 12-step connection, and the therapy. For me, any one of those, I believe, is enough to get healthy and have a fulfilling and joyful life. The combination of them all is great. For me, being spiritual and religious wouldn't be enough. The 12 steps is enough for me because I feel that I work them diligently. But having the added component of the therapy and that additional insight from an objective person, that's been so powerful to me. And then the connection to the community even after I leave here. I think that's a big ingredient for success in this program.
Tell me a little bit about your understanding of how your choices have impacted both your first and second spouse.
Well, it's caused tremendous pain. They've been so loving and so supportive, and basically this disease is so insidious that it hurts the people you love the most. The pain that I've caused to my ex-wife and my children, that was the hardest part for me to deal with. But in this program, I've been able to work through it, and the healing has begun.
Has any part of this program involved interacting with your ex-spouse in terms of, restitution or making apologies or anything of that nature, or is that kind of water under the bridge at this point?
Well, I think it's over time that's going to happen. Most of my life, the words "I'm sorry" were meaningless. As I continue to change my life and do the next right thing, if you will, then I have a chance at truly making amends to the people that I've hurt.
Yeah. Do you have any other words for either gamblers who are considering coming to this program, or therapists that are considering referring people to this program, or just the public at large? What would be helpful to know about gambling?
It's so hard for the compulsive gambler to see the path they're on when they're caught up in it. The only way that I could have ever stopped in my life is either when I faced losing a marriage, lost a career, lost several careers, each one of those points, and now the final intervention, going away to prison. I couldn't stop prior to any of that. If you can catch this thing, just like cancer, if you can catch it early and the signs are there and get the things done, people won't have to go through what I'm experiencing now.
What gives you hope moving forward at this point?
Well, the hope for me is that I'm able to be a genuine, transparent person through what I've learned here at Beit Shuvah. And I'm allowed to be of service to others, but always remembering that I've got to take care of myself first. And that's the primary thing for me.
It sounds like even though you're facing time behind bars, that time for you will be a place where maybe you will have experienced a greater freedom than you've ever had before.
That's a perfect analogy. All my life I felt imprisoned by my disease. Now finally, with what I've learned these last 3.5 months that I've been here, I'll be able to go away wherever it is, whether it's be incarcerated in prison or the rest of my life, totally free. And that's thanks to, again, everything that I've learned and the fact that I've turned to more a spiritual, without talking about God a lot, but I've turned my life over to God, to a higher power.
Thank you for the gift of your time and your willingness to share your story.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Okay.